What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Insurrection Inc. podcast. We want to thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Hey guys, Jay here. Just wanted to remind you that we have a Discord. The link will be in the show notes, and we would love if you joined. And while you're in the show notes, check out our brothers at Frat House, where you can find more shows like us. Welcome to the Insurrection Inc. podcast. Tonight, we have with us me, Jay, Porter, Peter, and a very special guest, the worst cook on Twitter, Small Crimes, aka Melissa, aka Mel, aka I don't know what the hell you want to call yourself. And before we get into tonight's episode, we finally have a sponsor, because someone wants to sponsor this shit show. Today's sponsor is Dr. Gooch. Listen up. Have you ever thought about how the FDA randomly classifies things, giving us an easy marketing strategy to call body wash detergent? Have you ever thought about the negative association there? Maybe you want to change up your scent because your woman thinks you smell like a pansy. Maybe you always want to buy a product from a company that spends all of their money on advertising, leaving little to no budget for their product. Well, then you should buy Dr. Gooch, the only bar soap that will give you the manliest smell there is. Your taint. Women will want you. Men will want to be you, and flies will surround you all day. So go to drgooch.com and use the code Insurrection20 for 20% off. That's Insurrection20 for 20% off. Place your order now and get ready to be the biggest asshole on the block. I hate myself for these.
It's a great company.
We got to do it for the grind.
I don't buy any of their products, but it's good company. Anyway,
they sent us right now. That's why I'm such a big asshole, because I just use it all day. Anyway, Porter, what are our topics for tonight?
So yeah, we're talking about the one probably on everyone's mind, which is the murder of George Floyd by a Minneapolis police officer. It'd be cool if I could talk and say words. Yes, the murder of George Floyd by a Minneapolis police officer named Derek Chauvin. And we invited Mel on to talk with us about that because she is the resident expert. I don't know if she'd like me using the word expert, but we're going to call her that. On libertarian criminal justice.
We ran out of real experts to bring on the show, so we brought this two-bit hack.
Yeah, Walter Block didn't want to come back on, so we downgraded a little bit.
Per Byland
Bye.
was busy for the night, so
yeah, he was too busy tweeting about Joseph Schumpeter today on Twitter, so he's busying himself with economics questions.
And I probably annoyed him with my questions.
You annoy me, so I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I do really wish people would realize I'm just somebody who tweets a lot. Like the last podcast I did, the guest after me was freaking Justin Amash, and then you guys have had Walter Block and Per Byland on. I'm literally somebody who just reads a lot.
David Friedman. Give David Friedman his credit. He deserves a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, we're going to try and get this done in under an hour because the Monopoly on Violence, produced by Pete Quinones and others, is premiering right now. So I got plans for after this.
Someone gave me the link to watch it early, and I didn't, yeah. So I guess I'll watch that after this.
Yeah, they uploaded a version and then found some errors, took it down and re-uploaded it, and now it's up.
A lot of errors, apparently. Derek of the Burning Boost podcast said there's a shit ton of audio problems. But,
no.
Yeah. So I guess that's fixed now. But anyway.
That's off topic. So
incredibly.
As usual.
Yeah. I think we're going to start talking about the George Floyd murders. And I'm pretty sure we all agree he was definitely killed by that cop.
Oh,
yeah,
of course. 100%. You don't sit on someone's neck with your knee for 10 minutes and then say, "Oh, I didn't know what I was doing." And this dude has a track record. Have you guys seen that photo circulating of him with all the shit he's done over the last 15 years?
Yeah, this cop had 18 different complaints against him for excessive force or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
12 police brutality records that were all kept secret. He was responsible for a car chase that killed 3 people in 2005. He's killed 2 innocent people over those 12 years. And he was in one shooting against someone that pulled a gun on the cops. Until this point where he killed a man with his knee for no reason other than a bounce check. So, allegedly.
That just shows how different things are. Cop violence isn't getting worse. It's that everyone has a cell phone now.
Mm-hmm. And who was the DA in those first murders that let him go? Amy Klobuchar.
I was about to say, guess who refused to prosecute some of his cases? That's right, Amy Klobuchar.
And now she's on his ass on Twitter because she's a fucking politician. Fucking hell.
It's something that's kind of important to mention. George Floyd he worked, I don't exactly remember the place, but it was shut down because of like coronavirus lockdowns. So like he was literally only unemployed. If he used like a fake $20 bill or a forged check, he literally only couldn't like afford stuff because like the state closed his job down.
I didn't even know that. That just adds to it. Shows how the war on poverty is related,
And it's a bounce check allegedly because it never even went to a fucking court to be proved. It could have just been a bad check because he lost his fucking job. And they choke him out over that shit.
Executed him in the street. No, no justice system, even a broken one. No due process, nothing like that.
It's also important to note that like a lot of the cops that are involved in like the stories that go viral and the ones that don't go viral, they have like past histories. I don't know if you guys remember, but the guy who killed Daniel Shaver,
I was about to say,
he like beat up a girl in a gas station or something ridiculous.
Well, the whole police station filled Brailsford was corrupt because perverse political incentives.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's the whole Mesa, Arizona police department is rife with police brutality to the point where they got a police chief who wanted to reform it, and the police union voted him out, and he lost his job.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So much for the bad apple argument.
Didn't the guy who killed Philando Castile have a history as well?
Yes. Oh, and also the guy who killed Philando Castile, his lawyer is representing Derek Chauvin right now.
That's right. I did read that.
It's all in Minnesota.
Jesus Christ. You go all night with these just unjust murders and cops who got away with literal murder with nothing happening to them. It's fucking insane. And you're right. It's not getting worse. People just have phones.
I would like to qualify that. It might be getting worse as the, militarization of the police is getting worse, definitely. But at least it's not this isn't a sudden phenomenon necessarily. This is something that we just started recording it.
Yeah, the institution's been corrupt for a long time.
And arguably this is their best behavior because they know everyone has a camera and they still do things like this.
Yeah. What happened to Rodney King in the 90s?
Yeah.
What happened to the civil rights protesters in the 60s? What caused the riots in the 60s? Oh yeah, dogs and hoses. So it's definitely not new. That's to say the least.
It's literally like LA, Harlem, Watts, Newark, Detroit, and now Minnesota. All the riots, they were caused by police brutality.
Almost as if maybe that's the trend here, and we shouldn't be really treating the rioters as the cause, but maybe as the symptom. Maybe there's something causing these riots to start. I don't know.
That's
a crazy idea. Yeah. I would Twitter followers bringing something like that up.
Yeah,
Looting violence is definitely immoral, but it's like they're not starting it.
It's not like they would have burned down the Target and the AutoZone just on a random Tuesday,
Yeah. They didn't just wake up like, hey, let's start a riot today.
Yeah, it's like go attack the root causes, not something the result of.
Yeah, the looters are pretty much entirely unprincipled opportunists, and the rioters maybe have misguided ideas, but it's not like this just came out of nowhere. That's not to defend, stealing from small businesses and burning places down, but you have to recognize what the root cause of this is, and it always goes back to the state.
Yeah. I tweeted at like 2 a.m. last night that, the cops are wrong and the looters are wrong, but where does it all start? With the state. They overact, people react, violence is met with violence, and that's why violence fails as, a means for change. It doesn't achieve anything.
So let's talk about
notice like literally nobody is sleeping through all of this?
Yes.
I don't sleep in general.
Yeah, my sleep schedule's been
I sleep in the day.
Now that I don't have school and stuff, I'm basically screwed with sleeping. I go to bed at 2 a.m., wake up at 10 in the morning.
I've been drinking for over 2 weeks straight, and my nicotine withdrawals keep me awake at night, so I don't know.
Yeah, but you're going to keep going so that you can write a tweet for Mel.
I really do. And if I don't, then Dark Tom Woods is going to write a tweet for me, and that scares me.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too. But
Anyway,
the
speaking
one
of-
tweet that goes viral on my account is gonna be the one you write, Will.
it's gonna have a plug right to me. I'm gonna get so many followers that day.
Just completely drunk.
include a picture so you can.
So an
include a
average
picture
day.
so that you can tag yourself in it, but like it doesn't just show up as @peaceful slavery in the tweet. You can make it more subtle, but you're still tagged in there.
It'll be of my bullet hole in the wall.
Oh God.
Yeah, make up a whole story around that and frame it on Mel instead, and post a
So
picture of your.
it all started during the riots. Anyway, so Poor, you wanted to get into Mel tweets a lot about prison abolition because she's a libtard, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Mel is a
Yeah.
communist.
Complete
so-
libtard,
That's me.
liberal.
I do
He's voting for Joe
I do think
Biden.
it's funny. Do you think it's funny that you get asked every once in a while, like where you stand politically, because you attract kind of a wider audience, like the prison abolition audience, and you'll like post a political compass with a dot in the bottom right, and it kind of scares people or surprises people. Oh,
Yeah.
Jay, you were talking about approaches that didn't work. Let's start with that. Some of the Hoppians on Twitter, our tenuous friends, have been posting Rothbard edits with the phrase "unleash the cops" from his paleo-libertarian, paleo-conservative alliance
Oh,
article.
God.
It's easily the worst thing he's ever written because that was at the end of his life. And he was a very bitter and jaded man by that point. I've read it. I read it again today just to refresh myself. It makes basically no sense. And the only way you can understand is, Mel, have you heard like was it Jeff Dice recently? No, it was, who was it? I think it was Dave Smith talking to Michael Malice, and they like brought up Jeff Dice, and they were bringing up how things were different like in the 90s, where to be a fringe political opinion, you needed to have access to a magazine, which was like the driving cause for Rothbard aligning with the paleo conservatives. And that was the gist of it. He needed access. That's why he was always allying with other different people. Support and access. That Paleo Alliance thing, it's a crap article. Like, if you read it, Rothbard's a great writer, but it just was not there. And he can't even think of, this is a man who wrote a 1,300-page treatise on the basics of economics, and he couldn't even bring himself to write a single paragraph for each point in the Paleo Alliance article. So it's just like, unleash it on the vagrants, unleash it on the violent criminals. And that's it. That's it. But unleashing the cops is how we got to this fucking point.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
And the worst part is he says in the article, like, they have to be held accountable. Well, that's unrealistic.
pipe
Because
dream.
someone who
Doesn't
knows
seem like they're accountable now.
who knows the state like someone who knows the state like Rothbard would know that the cops can never be held accountable, which is why he had why he supported the idea of privatized police, because the public police will never be held accountable. So what sort of pipe dream is this that unleash the cops as long as they're held accountable? You know that's not going to happen. The government's just going to unleash the cops and you're going to be fucked, which is why these riots are happening. So this whole Hoppian shit of, unleash the cops, what do you people expect to achieve? A more tyrannical state? Because that's what's going to happen.
And also, before we let Mel talk, I was listening to a Hoppe lecture from Mises U in 2011 titled "Property and the Social Order," and he talks about different law systems, basically private law versus the state's law. And there's a really good quote. He says, quote, "If one can appeal to the state only for justice, justice will necessarily be perverted in favor of the state, constitutions and Supreme Courts notwithstanding," end quote.
Mhm.
So that seems to directly contradict what many of the so-called Hoppians are saying on Twitter, like the unleash the cops thing, because
Almost if they don't
they
read
should take
Hoppe,
that-
cough, cough.
they should know that if the cops are unleashed, then they can't be held liable, like you're saying, because the state has a monopoly on arbitration. It's always going to rule in favor of the state's agents. So aside from that, Mel, why would unleashing the cops or giving them more power to crack down on these the bad actors, the rioters and the looters, as opposed to the peaceful protesters, why is that a bad idea?
I mean, who's your audience?
Autistic 10-year-olds.
Yeah,
Look,
pretty much.
some people need this spelled
9-year-olds.
out, so
I mean, it's. if your only tool is a hammer, every problem is a nail. You know, like what do you mean? Like unleash the cops? Like, is it nuanced at all? Like they just want
It's
them to just
literally,
like beating around.
literally,
They want like the
it's literally
National
not
Guard to
nuanced.
go in and just start to mowing down protesters. Is that kind
Yes.
of what they want?
They want the rioters to be violently quashed, so this shit like down. That's what they want. No nuance. Just unleash the cops.
That's not going. I mean, that's just going to get other people in the streets. Like, I guess, like I don't really know what stopped. Like, I tried to look into it today, like what stopped all these other riots, and it just seems like they just had to fizzle out.
Well, if you go to the Ron Paul newsletter, the LA riots ended because everyone had to go get their food stamps.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's what people still
my
rag on the
God.
Ron Paul newsletters for. No one knows who wrote that one, so when people pin that one on Ron Paul, that pisses me off because he did not write his own newsletters. So it was someone else who did that. But that joke still gets held to them like to this day.
There's also a Carl Hess quote from his essay, "The Death of Politics," that I posted a couple days ago, maybe yesterday, maybe 2 days ago. I don't know. Time blends together, but it's personally, I believe I would have a better chance of surviving, and certainly my values would have a better chance of surviving with the Watts, Chicago, Detroit, or Washington in flames than with an entire nation snug in a garrison. So the people calling for a police state, basically a libertarian police state,
What?
Jesus Christ.
are
No.
completely contradictory to the goal. Like we would, if
Sounds
we had
like
to choose, obviously
anarcho-fascism.
we can oppose. Yeah, well, you know
Go back
what?
to Instagram, Peter.
One of our good friends was actually calling himself an anarcho-fascist overnight, so that was disheartening. But yeah,
Ex-friend, right?
well, he
When
seemed
you
like he
s-
cooled down this morning. I talked to him a little bit about it.
Okay.
When you said friend, I was actually thinking someone from Instagram, Porter, not your friend from Twitter.
No,
My
I think
God.
he's cooled down a little bit. He just got really angry about seeing some rioters beat up a business owner last night, which understandable, but you have to stay principled.
You know, if I know who he's talking about, actually wasn't a business owner, was some idiot who tried to come and defend businesses with a sword, which
Yeah,
not
Is that what
justifying
it was?
What the hell?
not justifying what. Yeah, he had a sword. Not justifying what happened to him, but at the same time, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. If you're not even going to do that with a gun,
Don't
then you
stick your
should stay
sword in the
home.
I
Like,
thought
beehive,
you
so
had
to
to like
speak.
a shotgun or something.
no, he had a sword. He's fine though. He tweeted from the hospital this morning. He survived. No clue what damage is going to happen to him so far, but he is in very bad condition. But he survived, and he won his prize. Don't try to attack 30 people with a sword. It's not going to end well.
I think it's like
Yes.
really important that we like condemn that kind of violence. Like, don't attack people, but what you do is like show support, donate to mutual aid, donate to the GoFundMe's, you know, like all that stuff. But stay on principle. Our enemy is like the state. I just probably got put on the list for saying that. But it's so like, frankly, they're going to take any state given authority as personal power and to just unleash them. Like, oh my gosh. Like if the abuse you're seeing in the streets scares you and angers you that much, like what you're gonna see to let them off their leash, if they're even on one right now as it is, just
Yeah, that's a big if.
that is so wild to me. I
Right.
didn't
I
even
mean,
prepare for that because I
if the idea is that we should, quote unquote, unleash the cops in order to restore order and prevent chaos, which I guess is what we have right now, then all you get is a different kind of chaos. It's just a state chaos instead of a, you know, a private citizen, so to speak, chaos, like individual looters. And now you have instead a systematic chaos, which doesn't make it any less criminal, but it's just different people doing it.
with impunity. Because another thing to remember right now is these people, the hammer is going to come down. These people are going to be punished. The looters, the ones injuring people, they're going to be punished very harshly. The cops that we see pepper spraying children and shooting reporters, they're not going to be punished. They're going to get away with it. They're going to wring their hands of it. Well, you know, it was chaotic. There's
I was
nothing we
just
can
following
do.
orders.
Yeah, got caught up in the heat of the
Exactly.
moment.
I was just following orders.
Yeah, that's a very good point. None of the cops are going to be charged for
Yeah,
anything
maybe
they
like
did
one
during any of
person
this.
so they could appease the media, but that's about it.
And, you know,
Some
at
of
least,
them were even covering up their badges and like
Yep.
badge numbers so that you
and
couldn't
at
see
least
their
you can
identity.
you can legally shoot a looter who's attacking your business. What can you do to a cop?
Exactly.
I agree. We should be able to do that.
I do not endorse. I do not endorse violence. Please don't put me on a list. I like my dog.
How do you know you're not on one already?
Oh, I
I
totally am.
think we all are.
We literally have a
Everybody is.
podcast called Insurrection Inc.
Yeah, we're all on at least 5 lists here. Come on.
It's like that one guy says, what's it, Edward Snowden? He said, everybody's on a list. It just
The limited hangout.
You said the limited hangout? Is that what
Yeah.
you just said?
Yeah, the limited hangout Snowden.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a matter of how high up on the list you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like bottom of the barrel. No one gives a shit
Yeah.
about us.
Yeah. Nerds of the podcast.
If you're not on a list, you're a cop. I don't trust you.
They're on lists. They're just probably white supremacist hate lists.
Oh, you want to be friends? Let me see your what's it called when you have to file the Freedom of Information Act? Let me see your Freedom of Information Act list. Then we can be friends.
They should release the public rank on these lists. Like
A tier
oh
list.
yeah, I leveled up because of my tweet today.
Yeah, it's like a KD ratio on Call of Duty. It's like, how high are you on the FBI watch list? Jesus Christ.
Well,
It's
like
so-
a
it's
few
so
days
sad to-
ago. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. I'm just saying it's sad that we're joking about this one. It's actually a horrible thing that we're on a list.
I was gonna say, like, the other day I donated to like the Minnesota Freedom Fund, and then like I used to be on like the Emo-ish podcast, and so I'm like probably like the like range of lists, like the Boogaloo adjacent, even though I'm like anti-Boogaloo, but also like Antifa adjacent lists.
Yeah, you're
Gotta
retard,
collect them all.
because you're a libtard, obviously.
Yeah.
At least you're not a communist like Porter.
Oh yeah. The classic left libertarian trope.
Exactly.
Wait, actually she is. You started calling me that because I'm an agorist, which
Yeah,
you said
actually,
is
yeah,
left
you're-
libertarian.
You're both
Mel is too.
communists.
So yeah.
Damn, we got 2 commies here. This
Oh,
ain't good.
Oh boy, I don't want this joke to evolve. We're dropping it there.
Yeah, Jay.
You started it.
We're not getting into that. We're not getting on the. We're not getting onto that
I'll
one on this
I'll
episode.
ignore our Instagram conversation last night.
Yeah,
but,
we'll leave that one for a different episode.
yeah. So next, let's move on to what are some solutions that are actually good ideas, that are practical. What can we achieve in the near future?
Okay, we
Well,
achieve
like
a lot of
I
burn down
think-
police stations.
Something that's small.
Jay, can you not talk over her?
please don't
She
burn
started
down
to answer the
PlayStation.
question, and Jay just says, "Burn down police stations." Yeah.
There's actually like it's really easy to get like discouraged, but there's like so much work that's already been done, and there's like so many resources. You have to kind of drop the whole like purist attitude, like, oh, that a leftist wrote that or put that together, because right now we don't really have like in our space like a lot of resources. But I think like critical resistance in Oakland, something that they did was they decoupled the response to mental health crises from police responses. Like police can't, like if somebody's suicidal, you don't call the police, you call like their alternative. And like that's something that's really important. And they've got like, you just go to their website and they have an entire like manual on how they got that done. So I think something like that's really important. It's really important to like start learning the players in your community. Like, if you don't know your mayor's name, like start there. Learn like your city council. Start getting like-minded neighbors together and like fight against any budget increases for cops. Like if you look at some of their budgets, like especially in like New York, they're in the billions, like, literally billions with a B.
In South Carolina, where I am, well, first of all, Mayor Steve Benjamin, where I am specifically, was on the cop line yesterday at the protest. So that's, encouraging. But in South Carolina, we have some of the worst civil asset forfeiture laws in the nation. I actually did a really big research project on that a couple of years ago, and it pulls in like tens of millions of dollars every year, and a certain percent has to go to prosecutors. Only 5% has to go to the state's treasury, which still isn't that great, but the rest goes directly back into the rest of the proceeds, that is, go directly back into the departments that took the assets in the first place. So they get funding basically by stealing from people, which is what civil asset forfeiture is.
Some of that happens in my city
Oh,
too.
I think that is that the area where that article, the perverse incentives of punishment or something like that, was written about, like the cop that bought his like beach house with
That sounds right. That sounds familiar. I feel like I read that
like
when I was doing
civil
that project.
with maybe like a budget or something money. I don't remember. I literally just read it, but I don't remember.
I know Philadelphia was a really bad area, and they actually got reformed because they tried to take a couple's house after their son sold weed on the porch, and that sparked a reform movement, and they actually got some stuff passed that was pretty good. North Carolina has some of the best civil asset forfeiture laws in the nation. New Mexico is best. They basically completely outlawed it, but North Carolina could easily be a model for us. And every year, the police union shoots down the new civil asset forfeiture reform bill that has bipartisan support in the state legislature. Every year, it gets shot down by them.
That brings like a couple of really good points. One that I forgot to mention first, which is extremely important, is like we need to end qualified immunity. Just like flat out, just get rid of it. And then, what were you just talking about? Oh yeah,
Civil asset forfeiture.
Sorry.
What are you talking about?
In civil asset forfeiture, and then we have to like somehow take the power from the police unions. You have to build a big enough grassroots campaign, do whatever group with every single person, whether you're perfectly aligned or not, and you have to challenge the power that they have, because they're probably one of the most, if not the most powerful lobby in this country.
I think you're right. Yeah, leftists complain about some leftists, I shouldn't say all. The Democrats specifically complain about the gun lobby being so powerful and stuff.
NRA is a joke. They have like
every year we have more and more gun control laws passed. It's just a slow creep.
Which is often supported by the police unions.
That's true. Yeah, people don't recognize that.
Actually, what's a bigger lobby, the military-industrial complex or the prison lobby and the police unions?
Well, maybe they're one and the same, the prison industrial complex and the military industrial complex, because they both benefit, like if you consider like businesses that rely on slave labor, and I mean, they have to have like that revolving door because they need people producing their stuff. And then like the vendors that are in the prisons, not just like commissary, but electronics, like they have libraries in prisons, but they're fighting for tablets where the prisoners have to pay for the books, like to be on their Kindles. And then instead of visitations, they're doing like video conferences, like video visitation. And a lot of the prisons that are a lot of the prisons that are doing those video calls instead of in-person visitations are actually banning in-person visitations. So the people have to use their video conferencing and pay for that.
That sounds so nasty. Like they're getting.
How much you want to bet that it doesn't go away after coronavirus?
Oh no, that was in place way before coronavirus.
Oh really? I thought you meant
what the fuck?
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Same that they do it like with music, like they have music players that it's like a really big racket.
I've read about like the cell phone thing, like you have to pay for minutes and things like that, and how there's basically a huge monopoly on prisoners having cell phone and tablet access, but I didn't know about the other stuff. That's
it's crazy.
Pretty crazy.
Video visitations, that's fucking insane.
Yeah. Before Corona too.
God. They were ahead of their time. Good thing we have such a forward-thinking prison system.
Yeah.
It's very progressive. It's very, very,
Yeah.
very
Oh
progressive.
God.
We're the most progressive
You know what the
prison state
prison
in the world.
invented before all of this? Lockdowns.
Oh
Like, think
my
about
God.
it. Stay at
Something
home.
that
Stay in your cell.
God, jeez. Something that's really important to note, and I always forget to say it, like when you're thinking about reform, it should never center the system. Like, if you want police to be better, it's not more training. Like, they've had plenty of training. Like, that centers the system. So, like, defunding them, personal liability insurance. So, if they, are jackasses, they become too expensive to hire. Those are all fine. But anything that gives them more money, more tech, more anything, it's a bad reform. It's only going to serve to empower them.
Here in Canada, we
So
actually
fight against all that.
we had a popular movement back in the day. I think it was around 2007. I heard it on the news actually. There was actually a push to disarm the cops, but basically a bunch of police lobbyists decided that that was a bad idea. So the cops still have guns, they still have the weapons, stuff like that. In fact, they have
Yeah,
even better weapons now.
while simultaneously lobbying for y'all to not have
Yeah,
weapons because they
exactly.
were behind that big weapons bill that just got passed in Canada.
I think it's a really good idea. It's just like the protocol would be to take cover and call for like armed backup, and a percentage of officers could have something in their car, or you could even require them to have like law school in order to require law school in order to carry guns. Just that many police officers having guns, and they're allowed to use like the subjective feeling of fear to use it. It's completely like unnecessary.
I fear
And
for my life from that little black kid
dangerous.
holding an airsoft.
And they should like just have like strict rules of engagement, like clear whatever, like how the military does.
Yeah,
I don't know,
actually,
none of
there's
us are
been
veterans.
Clear, strict rules of engagement. I feel like there's one more thing in there. Transparent.
We're the only new podcast on the block that's not started by veterans.
there's a good series of articles by David French, who's otherwise a very repulsive human being politically, but but at National Review, his tone has changed towards police violence over the years. Actually, it's pretty good, and he's a combat veteran from Iraq, I think, and he wrote about basically how the rules of engagement there were so different from what cops go through. I shouldn't say go through. It's not like it's a struggle for them. Yeah, but like how the rules of engagement are so much stricter for our soldiers in like foreign occupied territory compared to police in our own streets, like here at home. And he just wrote about how it was ridiculous. Like the restraint required of soldiers is several degrees of magnitude greater than what's expected of cops, and we just let them get away with it most of the time.
Without knowing that he's gotten better on the topic, like the other day I was scrolling and I saw this, like I think it was like National Review. It was like something on cops. I saw the name and I'm like trash and kept scrolling. So now I feel mad that I didn't like read it.
No, but Port, on the topic, how insane is it that by the Geneva Convention, chemical warfare is banned, so you can't use tear gas in a war zone, but you can use it on civilians.
Hollow point rounds are
Yeah,
banned
actually,
too,
Baz.
and cops use them all the time.
Yeah, actually, my friend Baz, who we just had on the show, he got tear gas today at a protest. Because this is actually hilarious. I should probably tell the story real quick. So
it's hilarious. My buddy got tear gas.
Oh boy, this is great.
What a fucking loser.
It's hilarious in a bad way. All right. So there was an official protest at the State House, and then after that, they moved on to Main Street, like as kind of an informal, but kept going. They were completely peaceful. Yesterday, they had some problems with people breaking shop windows and looting stores and stuff, but today they didn't have any of those issues. They were just like packed onto the street, basically in a narrow corridor, and the cops were stationed at one end, like stopping them from going any farther. So that, like, okay, and they just stayed right there in that area. And then they had these barricades, like basically little metal fences set up between the cop line and the protesters. And one of the cops knocked over the barricade on accident. and they thought the protesters did it, and the cops took it as like aggression and like charged in phalanx style towards the protesters and started pepper spraying everybody and tear gassing everybody, and that's how the protest ended today, because they basically mixed up themselves and then took it out on everyone around them. And like I said, it's horrible, but it is kind of funny just because bumbling cops are funny and no one actually got seriously hurt, so it's okay. But
Sounds about right.
yeah, Baz did get tear gassed.
It's like that couple that they said was selling drugs, so they stormed the house. 8 cops. They shoot each other. They kill the 2 people, and then they blame the guy for shooting them when they actually shot each other.
Yeah, you're talking about Dennis Tull and Regina Nicholas in Houston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the cops, they shot each other. So, yeah, no civilian needs a gun. Just let the cops have them.
So back to what you were saying, though, Mel, about defunding. This may seem like an obvious question to you, or an obvious answer at least, but it is a question some people are going to have, is how do we maintain order if we defund the cops? Like, how do we make sure they have enough, quote unquote, enough funding to go after real crimes?
Oh, you don't? Everybody's
you heard it here first. She loves chaos.
I love it. No, you create systems of support in your community that diminish the power of the police, like alternatives like to policing. I really wish I remembered the person who did it, but she created this like set of pictures, and it was like, imagine if this happened and you call this person instead. It'd be like the same thing with like decoupling the mental health response. Instead of calling the cops, you would call this person. Right now, there's just like this massive umbrella of things that police, like poverty, homelessness, domestic abuse, mental health, like it's all under their umbrella. So like part of defunding isn't just taking away their money, it's creating systems of support that where you don't like need the cops to do that. So
yeah.
I mean, they've got enough stuff now that they could probably last. But the point of defunding the cops isn't to just like have this like bankrupt, like useless thing. It's, you know, they're gonna have to start letting cops go. They're gonna have to rethink policing. Maybe instead of patrolling everywhere, they wait until they're called upon. Instead of, maybe they limit the deployment of SWAT. They don't do like all the stuff that they do. So it's not just like, you know, defund the police and nothing. It's a whole, you know, thing that you have to do.
Yeah. It would help if they return that tax money we use instead of just diverting it somewhere else once they defund the police.
But I think it's such a funny thing, is like whenever you say like, oh, this organization has been failing at what they say you're supposed to be doing, so let's take away some of their money, and people freak the fuck out like, no, we need to give these failing organizations more money. Like with public schooling, you know, whenever somebody says they're a failure, they say, so let's give them more money.
Throw more money at it.
We don't pay them enough.
That fixed the problem.
Now, of course, if you have the blue pill take that public schooling is failing, it's doing its job, just like the police are doing what they're designed to do, they still deserve less money.
Yeah, actually, Andrew Yang had a tweet earlier that it was like it was like one solution. No, I'm criticizing you. Let me get
I was gonna say nope.
One solution, one struggle.
Yeah, shut up.
Humanist capitalism.
It was like, I don't know the exact words. I'm not going to take the time to go look it up real quick. But he said something like one solution could be adding a whole new wing to the Department of Justice or something like that on the federal level, to investigate, like solely to investigate claims against police and things like that, and give it, I think he said $6 million a year, something like that. It was some high number.
Absurd.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. And I was just thinking, like, this guy's solution is just to throw cash at everything and assume that makes it
do you
better.
guys have something?
Do you think money means anything?
Like in SIU, where it's like whenever a cop does something, like there's a police shooting, you have your own team that comes in and investigates.
Yeah, we have internal affairs, but they don't do shit.
Yeah, same. So
internal affairs are cops too.
They are. When I saw that tweet, like, first of all, all of the systems that internal affairs and federal investigations, they're huge time sucks and like money, like a huge waste of money, and the results are never like beneficial to us. They're just just adding like another extra thing, investigative body to the mix, like it's just more of a waste.
It's just
There
one
was
more
like
group of cops to say, yeah, it was okay. He didn't do anything.
Extra
I
bureaucracy.
really
That's what the government does.
appreciate yeah, I appreciate that people are trying, I guess, to think of solutions, but they should be listening to people who have been doing this for some time, not dumb politicians, but like the people who warned against mandatory minimum sentences and the people who said body cameras would be bad. Don't just
We're-
shoot from the hip.
Yeah, both of those were reforms, right? Mandatory minimum sentences were
Mhm.
supposed to be an improvement,
Yes.
and body cameras were supposed to be accountability, but they're really mostly just used to film, like to incriminate people, basically, that
Yeah.
aren't cops.
It's like 93% of
Oh my
body cam
gosh.
footage is used to prosecute. And then
What?
what was the other one we just said? Body cams and
Mandatory
mandatory
minimum
that,
sentencing.
that's like and it's actually one of my biggest pet peeves when I see memes like this, but like it's like equal in misery. Somebody will be like, well, this person only got 10 years, but a popular one is Ross Ulbricht. Ross Ulbricht got a double life sentence. It's like, well, you're not helping Ross by calling for harsher punishments for like for minorities or unprivileged people. Like you're
Right.
only ensuring that everybody is going to be punished harsher.
We should want lighter sentences for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not that we should even want
So-
murdering cops necessarily to have a double life sentence plus 80 years. It's, we
Yeah,
want
but at the same time, I think like if you use an example like El Chapo, who is a violent criminal, like it's not just that he's in the drug trade; it's that he is a violent person. And you say that he got this very light sentence, and then Ross Ulbricht, who never harmed a fly, and his website never served in any violent means, he gets double life plus 40. I think that's sort of becomes an apt comparison because El Chapo has physically ruined more lives than Ross Ulbricht ever could have.
Right.
So
that makes sense. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but like anybody else, like any other just street level criminal, yeah, it makes sense. Like, no, you don't want harsher sentencing for them. Like that's extreme. And Ross Ulbricht was extreme. We should be bringing this shit down.
And back to the better funding point for a second, I just thought of something else. As free market anarchists and agorists and stuff, it's interesting that when a state program fails, we throw more money at it. When something fails in the market, the solution that arises spontaneously, naturally, is to take your money away from it. Consumers, choose not to spend their money on it. Investors don't invest in it. And you starve bad ideas of funding, basically. Whereas when something fails, the reflexive state response is it needs better funding.
Wow, Porter, this is a hot and unique take I've never done before.
Come on, we're libertarians. We don't have original ideas. We just repeat the same we're talking points over and over. Right?
I wish you were wrong.
Any original ideas have to pass the purity test, and if they don't,
Then their status.
well,
So
and
they
they
don't pass.
always
Liquors.
have to appeal to an authority.
The purity
Like-
test goes through me. I am the only real libertarian. Yeah.
Whoa, no, come on. You're not a real
I'm a
libertarian,
real
dude.
libertarian.
When's the last time? When have you ever smoked weed? Come on, everybody knows a libertarian is a fat, unkempt, weed smoking virgin in his parents' basement. That's the real libertarian.
Oh yeah, I
not
forgot
a
I'm just
real
a Republican
libertarian.
who wants to smoke weed. I totally forgot about that, guys.
Exactly.
There's this person, I like really enjoy her tweets. Like she's a locked account, and she doesn't like screenshots or anything shared, but she put out a list, and I can read it, of like reforms that like are beneficial. And it was learn policing and inherent violence, get involved with cop watching, start focusing on the expansion of police during this pandemic and oppose them, support existing or create defund policing campaigns in your local municipalities, get ready for the next city council or public safety hearings in your town and city, be prepared to flood those with your neighbors and oppose increases in budget. And she said demand reallocations. I don't know if libertarians are going to do that, but set up local conflict mediation projects in your communities, launch campaigns to decouple responses to mental health crisis from policing. So I thought that was like a really good list. Well, Julie Borowski, she was like, what are some good reforms, and I was like, somebody I really liked listed these, and I gave all those, and some guy, he was like, shut up, you called them protesters, and like sent a screenshot to my tweet, and I was just like,
What?
okay, and he's like, sit down, agorist, or something like that, and I'm like,
Oh my god.
this is why nobody gets anywhere in this community. Like, I called it, like, this is a really good list. I called them protesters, and
Sit down, actor.
I was like, okay, I guess that's that.
Oh god, was that you don't say on air, but was it like anybody we would know, or was it just some rando?
I think it was some random. Well, he followed me, but I think it was some random.
Okay, just make sure. Because I personally know a guy who has like a little bit of a grudge against Agorist right now. But I would hope that's not him. But
I know several.
yeah, but I mean,
Okay.
like someone actually matters, Porter, not our friends.
Oh, okay.
Well, technically he's a friend, but it
A grudge against me?
no, not against you. Just actually
Oh,
mostly
okay.
against Sal and like Sal's tweets, and then like just
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
agorist purism that floats around. So it's like,
And it was all because I called protesters, and that was like 2 days ago, before like it was like night 1 of rioting. It's like, okay.
you call them protesters, but
Because they were
Yeah, it started
protesters, like,
peacefully, and then there
rioters
were
were a small
agitators,
minority.
and then bam, riots.
They are not a monolith. Like,
and
there's
now yesterday they were the voice of the people. Today they're far right nationalists.
Yeah. I do love the people simultaneously tweeting out of both sides of their mouth that a riot is the voice of the unheard, and that the riots were started by white nationalists undercover.
there's there's actually more of that. I was seeing that one of the mayors just straight up named Boogaloo Boys as being one of the agitators. He said former Atlanta Mayor Andrew Yang, or Andrew Young. sorry.
Andrew Yang.
Former Atlanta Mayor Andrew Yang.
He said 2 other groups came to town, Antifa and Boogaloo Boys, are provocateurs taking advantage of this all over the nation. We clearly are unprepared for this nationally. What's
Oh,
wait.
really
You know,
funny
one of
That
them
is
reminds me of something. Oh no. We're going to get a little bit off topic here, but we have to rant about our least favorite person on this show. Nick Fuentes was going around somewhere last night, the Hawaiian shirt.
I was gonna bring that up. He was chanting Groyper, Groyper.
oh my
He-
gosh.
Porter and I are blocked
He's
by him
so
on Twitter.
cringe, like, holy crap.
We're blocked by Nick Fuentes on Twitter. We never even
Yeah,
interacted
we
with
are.
him.
Oh gosh, she's so gross. It's kind of like, I do think that like Boogaloo Boys, like the whole thing is dumb. Like they're
It's a LARP.
yeah.
It's a LARP.
Thankfully, because I've seen some of the memes and what they want. Like I'm glad.
Yeah,
it's a
no,
LARP,
I'm
but-
glad too.
But like historically, there's always, I guess, like I was reading Dr. Rebecca Kavanaugh, and she said that in the 60s it was very common for them to delegitimize protests by saying that white nationalists or outside agitators were involved. So like, if you get, obviously that's probably going on a little bit, but for the most part, Antifa and the Black Lives Matter and these other prominent Black activists and whatnot, they're all like taking credit. Yes, this is us. We don't care to loot, like we don't care to do this, like we are doing this stuff, we are. And they're like posting, like when I saw like on a Facebook page where they were talking about like where to go and stuff, and it's just like these people are doing it. It's not just white supremacists and Antifa or whatever and Boogaloo Boys going in there. Like, take some responsibility. We can see the videos. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
this revolution is very televised and live streamed.
It really is. But you know, here's the Boogaloo Boys. I was talking with Andrew the other day in DMs, our co-host Andrew. I was saying that, you know, these Boogaloo Boys were just showing up for like armed protests, and now they're coming out to like show up and just defend businesses, and they're doing nothing violent, I think they're doing a disservice to themselves by calling themselves Boogaloo Boys instead of recognizing that they're actually practicing like civil disobedience.
Right.
And it's such a big disservice because the Boogaloo is inherently something violent. And what they're doing, because we've seen like with the armed protests, they'll let themselves be arrested by cops. They won't get into firefights because they won't get violent.
Right.
So I think they're doing themselves such a disservice. Like, they should respect that they're part of a very rich tradition of civil disobedience right now. So they should just like drop the Boogaloo Boy title.
Yeah, I always thought the Boogaloo.
Like, sorry, go ahead.
I always thought the Boogaloo was supposed to be like some violent revolution that they glorified, not just standing outside of a business peacefully, like showing force to protect innocent people. Like, they're just redefining what it is at this point.
The amount of people who are calling these riots the Boogaloo is so annoying. Like, you guys don't spend as much time on Insta as I do, and on Instagram. Holy crap!
Not anymore.
So
No.
If I see one more reference to the Boston Tea Party, I might just delete my Instagram account.
Same here.
It's like, it's so important right now to remember that with the protesters right now, with the Boogaloos, the media's calling them the Boogaloos, which is like, I've never really known what to refer to them, but I usually just call them like Boog Boys or whatever. But these groups are not monolithic. With the Boogaloo Boys, that did originate, like, white supremacists did start that word, but it was always like a joke to take it from them, because like the Instagram, like the bigger Boogaloo accounts absolutely freaking hate, like they call them fast trash, like they hate the white nationalists, and they wanted to take their word because like as a meme. And like some of them, sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, like some fair histories. Actually, it started on the K-board on 4chan, and We Can Gun It on Reddit, where it was just like 1776 Part 2 Electric Boogaloo, because like that movie from the 80s. So it was like, originally it didn't actually have an affiliation. It was just like, all right, we're going to get these gun grabbers, and we're going to have our 1776 Part 2 Electric Boogaloo. And that got turned to Boogaloo. And it was already like, by that point, split between libertarians and white nationalists, because that's what populates those boards and that subreddit. It's a very diverse split. So it's already like split from the start. Like, it was never owned by one or the other.
And I think like another thing that they really, like, a mistake from the beginning was joking about civil war when they really wanted like action. Like, because when white nationalists say they want civil war, like, it's a little different. Like, they want white versus black, but these people want, like, the people that also use it, they want the state versus the people, which is definitely a lot different. And some people recognize that, but most do not. I was reading this one article the other day, and I shared it with Pat from Uncensored Tactical, and he found it where it was like, they had said some were not yet racist. It was just like, what?
Huh?
Mel's not woke on the
inevitable.
JQ, guys. Mel's not woke on the JQ.
What's the JQ?
The Jewish question.
Oh gosh.
It's okay, we can joke about it because Jay's one of them.
The JQ, come on. I hate myself so much.
They're getting to you.
It's always great. Like, I know, like, when I did the email show and we joke, it was just like, we always had to qualify our jokes. Like, I'm Mexican, like, if I joked about Mexicans. And now you're like making a joke and it's like, he's Jewish, it's okay.
Everybody already knows when I make a fuck up joke. It's I'm Jewish. You can't criticize me. It's anti-Semitism.
Dude, is libertarian? What was it? Episode 25 or something? Is libertarianism apathetic? Maybe it was 27. I don't know.
Yeah, 25.
It was.
I think it was 25.
It was a couple
26.
episodes ago. The whole first half of that was Jew jokes interspersed with serious conversation.
How did we not even get deleted for that? Like, seriously.
Dude, I have no idea.
Because Stratty and I are Jewish. We have two Jews on the show.
Technically
It's kosher.
Jewish. Like, my grandmother goes back to what's called. She even has a Hebrew last name. Well, it translates to Hebrew. So, anyways.
I mean, you got Polish background. It's probably in your blood somewhere. So
just a big mix.
This is actually completely like off topic, sort of. But do you guys know, have any podcasts actually been pulled from like Apple and Spotify for content.
I
Like,
think there's actually a
I've
looking at
heard some
podcasts.
pretty.
A few of our episodes stopped showing up, but
Yeah, and they weren't even controversial. It was like one with the Ugandans and one with David Friedman. So
yeah, it was weird.
And then after that, they started showing up again. So I don't know what the fuck was going on there.
I guess
I know
Ugandans are
one
white nationalists or something.
Poor Jay, so self-hating.
I know one show, like when I first got on the podcast, I don't know if anybody even listens to. I don't listen to him anymore. But it was an ANCAP show. He got pulled off iTunes out of nowhere. It's like the Tim Price podcast. And no, besides that, I don't know any podcast that got pulled off.
I do one thing, like back to the subject that I changed with the Boogaloo community. Whenever I got on Instagram, when I first had my account, I was invited into a group chat, and it was like okay at first, mostly just people sharing memes, and then and I only popped in there once. I stayed in there because one of the guys was kind of nice, and I didn't know if I could leave without everybody being alerted, and so I stayed. And then one day I popped in there, and one of them had referred to somebody as like a racial slur for Mexicans, and I was like, well, that's awful. So I left it, and the guy that I thought was okay, he messaged me afterwards, and he's like, no, we don't have a problem with Mexicans. It's black people we don't like. And I'm like, dude,
Oh my gosh.
extra buy. That's the most horrible thing I've ever that was the worst apology. Is that supposed to make me want to stay?
We have nothing.
Oh,
Listen,
never
here on
mind. We're
Insurrection
cool
Week,
then.
Yeah. No, on Insurrection Week, we got nothing against the blacks, nothing against the Mexicans. It's the Jews we got a problem with.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Disclaimer: 2 of our hosts are Jewish. I'm one of them, so fuck off. Anybody got this far, I pity you.
Yeah, who actually listens to her podcast? Like we said, 10-year-old
Apparently
artists.
enough people. Apparently enough people, dude.
Yeah. And plus, I'm on here, so of course.
Yeah, so this
people
can be
are
our
gonna
least
listen to the very end.
This is gonna be our least listened to episode.
Yeah, because I'm here
If
too.
you listen this far, let us know. You have to say something like a code word.
Yeah, for real.
If
No
you
one
listen
usually
to
makes
have
it this
to,
far.
you have to
Peanut
go.
butter and bacon burger.
No, you have to go 1488.
No, my God, no.
God damn it.
Jay's just trying to get us banned now. All right. I think we've covered all the bases. We talked about everything we wanted to talk about.
That's getting censored.
Jay's, yeah, you can't say that.
Yeah, you
Oh my
can't.
God.
We already got
I mean, I
2 strikes
can't.
in this video.
Listen, I physically can say that. Is what am I allowed to say?
Let's talk about the most racial incident maybe of our lifetime and throw some casual racism in there.
Yeah,
Jesus.
that's gonna
It's
get us
actually
to
not the
Craig's.
most racist thing that's had to be cut out of an episode. So
What was the most racist thing said? Let's not put that on air.
yeah, no, I'll tell you.
No,
I'll
I
tell you
think
after.
it was something I
Yeah.
said, actually.
All right.
This is slowing down.
I don't know, but anyway, I'll take us out of here. So a few things to disclaim. Join our Discord because we need more people in there. If you like our show, check out the link in the podcast. We're gonna have links to the other shows in the frat. Mel, do you have anything to plug?
Nope. You can find me on Instagram. You can't find me on Instagram. Actually, I deleted that. You can find me on Twitter at Small Crimes with a Z.
Small Crimes with a Z. All right. Anything else we need to bring up? Peter, Porter,
No.
Pooter?
I think that's it.
All right. Thanks for listening to our shit show. We'll see you next time.